You made our whole backyard a garden. I did. And so those are the animals that I have on my homestead. Girl, what were we talking about? I don't do any of that. Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia and I'm an urban gardener growing in a small space out in my backyard. So let's get comfy today and talk about everything that goes on my urban homestead. I grow in my backyard in zone 7B in Virginia. I raise chickens. Right now I have 6. I raise them for eggs only. I don't raise them for meat. But I also have quail. I have 4 quail. I have 3 female and 1 male. It's a covey. So a quail flock is called a covey. And so I have a covey of 4 right now. I am hoping to get more. Right now I am using a coop from Tractor Supply for the chickens. It was about $600 total. And it was delivered to me, actually no, it was $600. I got a discount because it was cracked at the bottom, and then they delivered it completely set up because it was the floor model. I was excited about that. And then we moved it over into this side of the garden. About a $600 coop. I will say, well worth it. I purchased a much cheaper coop when I first got my chickens, and it fell apart so quickly. So, you know, if you just want to get started like I did, purchase a cheaper coop, but you may, depending on where you get it from. If you get it from Tractor Supply, you may have to purchase a new one within a year or so. My quail are being raised in an Ava tubing coop. It was gifted to me. I could drop the link if they still have it down in the description box. And so all 4, and I had 5 at a point, they are kept in there. I do not let my chickens free roam. I wouldn't let my quail free roam because I don't think they would come back. I don't know enough about it. But the quail are always in the coop. The chickens are in they have a run, so they're not kept in the coop all day. They have a run area where they come out. I use a 3-gallon waterer for my chickens. I probably have to fill it up once a week or so. When it is hot, have to do it more than that because you start to get the algae and things down in the bottom of the water. But I love it. Got it from Tractor Supply. The quail, I use baby chick feeders for them. There's 2 in there with them. And then I use one of the long baby chick waterers. And then I use one of the long feeders for them. Right now, I'm feeding everybody, all flock. At a point, I was feeding 2 different feeds, so I would have to buy a quail feed, which is game bird feed, and then I was buying a chicken feed for my layers. But at this point, I'm feeding everybody, all flock. I just started doing that probably 2 weeks or so ago. I'm not exactly sure. So I can't give you any advice on all flock. I know they eat it. And so those are the animals that I have on my homestead, aside from my dog. And someone asked to meet her. I will absolutely let you meet her. I don't really let her in my garden because she doesn't know the difference from a garden bed and the ground, even though the ground has landscape fabric on it. Which brings me to my next thing. I do have landscape fabric down. I used to use cardboard boxes. So I started gardening in 2020. In 2020, I started out with 1 block raised bed, and it was smaller than the ones that we have right now. I extended these beds as I extended my garden, but I started out with 1 block bed, and I got the blocks off of Facebook Marketplace. And so if you're wanting to get started, you want to do raised beds, but you do not want to, spend a lot of money, block beds work for me. Now, I want to put a caveat out there that I have seen things where people say that the I guess chemicals in the blocks can go into the soil. I'm putting that out there just for anybody who is interested in doing that. I still grow in them. I have not had a problem with it. So just want to put it out there though. If you're new here, I'm very honest, very authentic. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to show the truth. Like, I didn't clean up anything that I'm going to show you this evening because my garden is not clean all the time. So I did not clean anything. If you see something out of order, it's because I moved it there, or who knows why. But as I was saying, so I used cardboard boxes. I would go to like Dollar General in my area and they would have cages of cardboard boxes. One day I asked and the guy said, oh, you can come anytime and get cardboard boxes. And so before I got this landscape fabric, which was gifted to me by Vevor, it is down in the description as well. So I am going to mention products today, not as a way of like selling or anything, but just kind of trying to tell you, am I affiliated? Yes, I am affiliated with Vevor. So if you are wanting to purchase from Vevor, please know that if you use my links, I will get a cut from that. So just want to let you know that too. So the landscape fabric came from Vevor. Cardboard boxes will work just as well to keep the grass down. Wood chips will keep the grass down as well. And if we're honest, you could just let the grass grow and cut it with a weed whacker or something like that. So you don't need any of the fancy things. I am telling you what's in my garden because I want you to know the workings of Yellow Door Urban Homestead. So over here, I grow in no dig, and when I say no dig, I basically put cardboard down over the grass. You're supposed to cut the grass all the way down. I am not sure I did that either time. You put cardboard down and then you put compost or soil on top of it. You need to make sure you wet the cardboard. That will make it break down quicker because cardboard can break down, will break down under the soil, and at a point the cardboard will be gone and now you will have a garden bed. Also, a very simple way to get started. I also grow in raised beds. I have 2 raised beds. Aside from the 3 block beds that I have 2 additional raised beds in the garden. And they are from Vego, also more than likely linked at the bottom. They're Vego garden beds. They are metal garden beds. They do come with the screws. The part I hate the most is taking the plastic off of them. But the second part is putting all of those screws in. But I think I saw that they have beds now that don't have to be screwed. So you might want to look that up. But I have 2 raised beds that I filled with my own compost. I do have 2 compost bins. It's a 2-bin system. Normally they tell you to have 3. I don't have space for that. And so I have, not this year, grown compost in my backyard on my own. And so it's a 2-bin system that I put up with T-posts, and then there's just chicken fencing around it, and then I put a piece of chicken fencing in the middle. That's how I made my 2 compost bins. So another way that I grow is in bags and in pots. I absolutely love growing in fabric bags. Got them from Amazon. One thing you need to know about growing in bags is that they dry out faster than if you were putting them in like a bed, raised bed, or even in ground, or even in a no dig, right? So they dry out much faster. I don't find that to be a problem. I absolutely love growing in them. So I grow my tomatoes in bags. I grow my peppers in bags. I grow potatoes in bags. I grow carrots in bags. If I'm honest, I will tell you, I think that you can grow anything in a bag or in a pot that you can grow in the ground. I am a firm believer of that. So if you have a small space and you cannot make your backyard into a garden, but you want to garden, absolutely grab a pot, grab a bag, and get started. The other thing that I grow in is in ground. And so that's like pretty normal. People grow in ground all the time, and I do that. My blueberry bushes are in ground. My whole orchard area is in ground, and so I do have a small orchard as well where I grow peaches. I have 2 apple trees. Have not grown an apple one time, but I have not given up on that. I also have grapes over there, and then at the bottom it is all herbs. At a point I had strawberries that took over. I will link a video to where I was cleaning those out because I put 1 strawberry plant down and it took over a portion of the orchard area. But what I want for my orchard area is all herbs and trees. So that's what I'm working towards this year. I grow a lot of herbs over here. I'm very interested in growing herbs. Also, if you're new here, live in an urban setting, you may hear my neighbor's dog. You may hear a motorcycle. You may hear a truck. You may hear a train, an airplane, anything. And normally I just keep recording unless it's like way too loud, and then I will take a break, right? So those are the ways that I'm growing. I do grow up a lot. And right now, what I use to grow up, I use stakes. In the bags, I use stakes. And the stakes that I have right now are from a greenhouse. I had to purchase a greenhouse cover, but I ended up having to purchase the whole greenhouse. And so instead of throwing those pieces away, I used them to stake my peppers in the bags. Worked out really well this year. I believe this may be the second year I tried it. Worked out really well, and they're reusable. So, you know, a little bit of sustainability. So I grow up on cattle panel trellises. I attach the cattle panel to the T-post, and that's how I keep it up. And I just use zip ties. They last over probably about 2 seasons, depending on which ones you purchase. You can purchase some that are for outside, and they will last. I do not take my infrastructure down every year. Originally, I would take my trellises down for fall because I do grow 365 days a year here. So I would take it down, but that got to be too much for me, and I did not want to experience burnout. And so my trellises, they stay up all year long. If there's a T-post in the ground for trellising in the summer, that also stays all year long. I do not take any of my infrastructure down. That also includes the greenhouses. I have, I guess what you would call movable greenhouses. So they are not permanent structures. I got one from Vevor, and I got one from Quick Tent. The larger one is from Quick Tent, which I absolutely love. The smaller one is from Vevor. I enjoy that one as well. That is where I keep things dry and where I dry things. The smaller one has like all of the bedding for the chickens. I use pine bedding to you know, put down in their run area and in their coop when I clean it. Same for the quail. That's where I keep those things to keep them dry, and so that's a part of my infrastructure. It stays up all year. I do not take it down. The larger greenhouse has 2 raised beds. I do believe they're both from Vevor. I do believe that. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, a hummingbird. That's one thing I absolutely love about having a garden. We're going to get back to the greenhouse, I promise. Is watching the wildlife that is here. All the wildlife except for snakes. Like, if you're not new here, you know I do not fool with snakes. I found one really tiny one in my garden, and it took me forever. It didn't take forever. It took me a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, to come out here by myself again. because I don't like snakes. But like, the hummingbirds are always here. I would have never, I'm pretty sure I never did see a hummingbird before I put a garden in my backyard. I have lots of spiders in my garden. I let them stay here. They intrigue me so much. I think somebody said they're orb spider. They're a yellow and black spider, and they're just, I don't know, they intrigue me so much. As it relates to like pests in my garden, I don't do anything. Literally, my plant can be getting eaten and I don't spray anything. I really don't. So the only thing that I really do is I cover my blueberries, which I didn't get around to doing this year, but I cover my blueberries so the birds don't eat them, because in most cases the birds get my blueberries long before I do. So I cover them with tulle, and that's about it. But I don't use any sprays. I don't even use organic sprays. Like, for instance, my eggplant get eaten up every year by flea beetles. The leaves get eaten up by flea beetles every year, and every year that plant still produces eggplant for me. So it's not a big deal for me when I have pests in my garden. I just want nature to do what nature does. Like, I really don't feel like I want to spray anything. And that may seem silly, because I could maybe save a plant, but I also would just rather nature take care of it. So let's back up a little bit to the chicken and the quail. I did raise all of my chickens from baby chicks in my laundry room. Also hatched all of my quail myself. I used the Nature Right 360, I think you're right, Nurture Right 360, and that's how I hatch my quail. I did not hatch any quail this year. I normally hatch quail every so often throughout the summer, and then I do cull them myself, and we do eat the meat. I eat the quail eggs throughout the year. I absolutely love quail eggs. I prefer them over chicken eggs. People always say why. I don't like a lot of yolk. To me, they taste about the same, but I don't like a lot of yolk. And so I can have bite-sized eggs without a lot of yolk by eating quail eggs. Everything was raised here. I got my chickens from Tractor Supply, and then I got some of them from a local like farm store about an hour away from me because I wanted different color layers. The type of chickens that I have two black sex links. I have a majestic Moran. She lays a beautiful brown egg. I have a Brahma, and then I have a sapphire olive egger, and then I believe the white one that I have is a I want to say Americana. Yes, she's an Americana. So those are the 6 chickens that I have if you were interested. In my time of homesteading, lost 2 chickens. I have had death on this homestead. I won't say that it is easy when it happens, but I do know that it happens, and so I understand that. So now that I think I've told you everything that I meant to tell you about the chickens, we'll get back to the garden portion of this. As it relates to fertilizers and things of that nature. When I first started out, I was buying almost every natural fertilizer that I saw someone post or talk about because I just wanted my garden to be amazing, right? That got expensive quick. That got expensive really quick. And so right now, I use a granulated fertilizer. I do use bone meal and blood meal at times if I have it. It's not a part of my normal fertilization anymore. What I've moved to this year is comfrey tea. I can't tell you how well it works because my garden season 2024 for summer was not the best. I did not do everything that I was supposed to do. And so with that being said, I can't tell you that it's an amazing fertilizer just yet, but we will find out because I plan to fertilize my fall vegetables with comfrey fertilizer. I do start my own seeds. Starting my own seeds. It's been a struggle because I haven't had time to actually take care of them like I'm supposed to. So this fall, just like last fall, I do believe, we'll be going to the local feeder seed store to buy starts, which I have no problem buying start. It is what it is as long as I'm growing. Right now, where do I get my seeds? I will buy my seeds from pretty much anywhere. But some of the places that I really like is Baker Creek, Kids Seed Co. They're over on Instagram. I like Southern Seed Exchange. And then I think there is a Southern Exposure Seeds, like them too. Botanical Interest is another good one. I do preserve food, not a big canner. I'm learning. Pressure canner anyway, not a big pressure canner. I don't mind doing water bath canning. Doesn't scare me nearly as much as pressure canning. So I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, but I just want to tell y'all all the things. Let's go back to comfrey. So comfrey is a plant that grows and its roots go really deep down into the soil. So what I have heard is that plant goes deep down in the soil. It can get nutrients that other plants cannot get. And so it's a great thing to fertilize with. Most of my comfrey is in the ground because if I wanted to get the nutrients out of the ground, then I need it to be in the ground. I do have some that are in pots. I only have one left that I need to plant in the ground, but they do spread. So there are varieties that spreads, there are varieties that do not. I don't know which variety I have. All of my comfrey that I do have in the ground, it is in the orchard area, and because I don't care if the orchard area gets wild. I don't care if things take over, and when I do, I pull them, such as the strawberry. That's where that is, and so I just basically cut it all, cut some of the leaves off, the lower leaves throughout the season. I put it in a bucket with some water and then I let it sit. You can let it sit essentially for a week, 2 weeks. You'll still be able to use it. You just don't have to dilute it as much. You can let it sit longer and then it'll be more potent and you have to dilute it a little bit more. And so that is what I am choosing to start fertilizing with, some granulated fertilizer and comfrey tea. I don't want to have to go and buy things from the store because if there was to be a chance where I could not make it to a store, I still would need to, fertilize my garden. So back to seed starting. So I do start my own seeds. For the most part, I start all of my seeds. So in the off season, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. So resources for me was really YouTube and Google. I have not gone to school for this. I don't know the science behind all of it. I really don't. It is really a trial and error thing for me. And if you are new here, you will find out that I will trial some stuff and see what happens. I really will. But I use YouTube a lot. I use Google a lot. If there was something I was interested in, I would just go on to Google and type it up. I have tried so many vegetables that I have never eaten before. I honestly was not a vegetable eater. So how did I even start gardening if I don't like vegetables? My daughter. My daughter loves vegetables. She loves fruit. Now it is like a passion of mine. I absolutely love gardening now. And so she's even like, you made our whole backyard a garden. I did. And if I could use the other side of the yard, that would also be a garden. Back to seed starting. If you're new here, you're going to find out just how much I can squirrel off somewhere. And I hope it doesn't bother you, but I really can't help it. I really can't help it. Anyway, seed starting. Right now, I'm using Bootstrap Farmer trays. They gifted them to me, and I absolutely love them. Their sale trays are really awesome. What I will tell you is prior to having Bootstrap Farmer, I used trays from the dollar store, Dollar Tree. I ordered some sale trays from off of Amazon, and they work just fine. I use fruit containers, so like strawberry containers, I use that, and it had like a dome. And basically I would wrap everything in saran wrap, and so that will hold the moisture in, that would keep them warm, because I would put them under shop lights. And literally shop lights from Walmart with a LED bulb from Walmart. I am still growing my vegetables that way. Unless, of course, I try to grow my fall vegetables outside in the summer, and that didn't go well at all. But I do that in my laundry room. That's how I start my seeds, and that's where I get my seeds from. Okay, so water collection. I do save water. My uncle is looking for this water collection system for me, and it's basically just a food grade like big thingy. I don't know what you would even call it, but he has one. He gardens, so he's looking for one for me. But right now I just have a tote under my gutter spout, and I save water in that tote. The tote always breaks, so like just know that if that's how you're gonna do it, the tote always breaks. You have to replace it. So I'm very hopeful that my uncle finds me that water collection system. So I save the water in the tote, and then once the tote fills up, not in summer, because in summer I use that water, I will move it over into the black trash cans, and so that allows me to save water every time it rains until the trash cans get filled up. Then, you know, I'll just start using it. So basically I'll fill up the trash cans, but then I'll use the water from out of the tote, and then when like we haven't had rain, the trash cans are like my reserve. So it's working for me. But I also water with the city water. In the heat of summer, I will water with a sprinkler, and I know that's, you know, if you aren't a gardener and you haven't really started looking, watering with a sprinkler is one of those things that people say don't do it. It will give your plants, you know, disease and things. I water with a sprinkler. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not to do it, but I do water with a sprinkler. Sometimes I also will hand water. I didn't hand water much this year. I did the sprinkler, but that is how I collect water. I do collect water here. I think I forgot to tell you the other reason why I really like growing in grow bags. So there are more reasons other than like I really love growing in grow bags. I think that's all I said at the beginning of this video or earlier in this video. Why do I like growing in bags? So bags are movable. In a small space like I have my bags in the walkways. When I need to get my wheelbarrow down the walkway, I can just move those bags. The other thing is it is extending my grow space. And so having a bag, I can grow a pepper plant in that bag, where I wouldn't be able to put so many pepper plants in a bed because they would fight for the nutrients. I can put them all in bags. I have about 60 bags right now. It helps you to expand your growing space greatly, you know, if you're in a small space and you don't have, you know, a lot of space to add extra bed. And so people do ask me, like, how did I design my garden? I really didn't design my garden. For the most part, if there was a space, I made a new bed. I did not really design it or anything like that. It has worked out well, but I did not design it. I just made sure that I left a good amount of space in between the beds that I was making. And this is what happened. This is what came of me just throwing beds out. Let me go back to what we were talking about. Girl, what were we talking about? We were talking about growing in grow bags. That's tough. Well, in that case, I'll probably remember it later and we'll go back to it. My dog is on a roll. Papi, no. So I was walking back in the garden, right? And I think I remember what we were talking about. We were talking about the fact that I don't wash my bags. I don't wash them. And I don't take the soil out. Like I fertilize the soil that's in the bed. That is what I do with these bags. And this is where I said I may use bone meal or blood meal as well, because these bags are only gonna get what I give them. And so yes, sometimes if I have it, I also put some blood meal and bone meal in these bags, but I do not dump them. I do not wash them. I don't do any of that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to visit me over on Instagram, where I post about the things going on in the garden just about every day. Bye, y'all.